Okay. So you are asking about cardiac cycle, right? So it is this portion.
Ma'am, at last means I understood that is how conduction impulses in the heart, SA node, AV node, that I understood at last. Yes, yes, from here to the cardiac side.
This slide, right? This one.
Ma'am, that previous slide. From there to I
This one.
cannot get it.
This
Previous
one.
one, previous one. The
This.
cardiac cycle written and the heading. Yes, yes.
Okay. The healthy adult heart is likely to beat at a rate of 60 to 80 beats per minute. Okay. In a healthy individual, the heartbeats in a minute are about to 60 to 80. Means in a healthy individual, within a minute, heart will beat about 60 to 80 times. Period of time of complete contraction is systole. Means when the heart is completely contracting, all the ventricles or the atriums are contracting, that is known as systole. And when the heart is relaxing, that is known as diastole, or both atria and ventricles called cardiac cycle. Okay. When the whole heart means from systole, once again it is coming to systole. Means at the time when the ventricles and atriums are starting to contract, and again when they are starting to contract, the whole cycle is known as cardiac cycle. Okay, so how this cycle is divided? It is divided by each cycle lasts about 0.8 of a second and consists of atrial systole, ventricular systole, and complete cardiac diastole. Okay, so at first when only atriums contract. So when atriums are contracting, at that time blood is reaching from atrium to ventricle. So within 0.8 seconds, atrium is contracting and blood is reaching to ventricles. Then ventricles are contracting and blood is out of heart. Then the whole heart is relaxing for a few seconds, a few fraction of seconds. So when the whole heart is relaxing, neither atriums are contracting nor ventricles are contracting. That time the whole heart is relaxing, and that is cardiac. So the superior vena cava transports oxygenated blood into atrium at the same time as the four pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood into left atrium. You all know these things, right? You have no confusion regarding this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So now, where is the confusion left?
Ma'am, in between your voice is breaking, not clear so much. Can you show the previous slide?
Which one? This one?
That previous, ma'am. That you, yes, yes, this one. Atrial systole contraction of the atria. Then complete cardiac distal means relaxation of atria and ventricles. Means these all can happen within the 0.8 second.
Yes, exactly. All the three is happening within 0.
Okay, ma'am.
Get it?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Can
I
you
thought each cycle means systole take 0.8, ventricular take 0.8. Okay, ma'am. Now clear.
okay. So, everything is clear regarding cardiovascular system?
Yes, ma'am.
No any confusion left? Other systems? Okay. So, we will start today about. Okay. So,
Ma'am,
yes, please. Yes, continue.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can recap these all the last parts of this cardiovascular system? Only say simple
Which
word you can say. Only short line you just explain. That last
which
means I am.
portion?
Yes, 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 ma'am. I am telling that one. Means how blood pressure type systolic, dystolic means that thing, and cardiac output. Only single line. You just recap this.
Okay. So, when I'm opening the slides. Okay.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I am
No.
open myself.
No, mandatory to present, right? No problem. Where I go? Yeah, yeah, yes.
Is it important for us that location of baroreceptors what are mentioned at last of the slides? These all are mechanism, I think that I could not get it.
Which portion? Now tell me clearly which portion.
Yes, ma'am. I want to from the now I understood that cardiac cycle that blood pressure written how stethoscope means we are measuring the types of systolic and types systolic only single line just recap, ma'am.
Which
Blood pressure, ma'am. In the slide first written blood pressure.
okay. So blood pressure is the force of pressure that the blood exerts on the walls of blood vessels. Means the amount of pressure blood is exerting the inner wall of blood vessels, that is blood pressure. Okay. Means when you have seen that water flowing inside a pipe, so the amount of pressure or force water is exerting on the inner wall of pipe, that is pressure. The same thing is when the blood is flowing, the amount of pressure blood is exerting on the inner walls of blood vessels, that is blood pressure. And blood pressure are systolic and diastolic. So systolic pressure is when the left ventricle contracts and pushes the blood into aorta. Okay. So when systolic pressure is arriving, means the ventricle is contracting. When the ventricle is contracting, at that time, systolic blood pressure is forming. means blood is being pumped out from heart. Sorry, when blood is getting pumped out from heart, time ventricle acting, that is pumped out, right? So at that time, um, force of pressure will be more. When you are for example, you are blowing air into a balloon. So when you are blowing air in the balloon, at that time the pressure will be more, right, on the inner walls of balloon, in comparison with when you are tired and you stopped blowing. So when the ventricle is contracting, at that time blood is getting pumped out from heart, and the pressure or force in the capillary or in the atrium or the arteries is more in comparison to when the ventricle is relaxing, right? So when the ventricle is relaxing, at that time the pressure is less, and that relaxing pressure is known as diastolic pressure. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
So when the heart is resting following the ejection of blood, means has left the heart and the pressure within arteries is much lower. It's called diastolic blood pressure. So systolic is about 120 mmHg and diastolic is about 80 mmHg in healthy adults. So when we measure our blood pressure, we measure both systolic and diastolic. That is, in healthy individuals, healthy adults, it is 120 by 80 mmHg. Anything more?
Yes, ma'am. That how cardiac output is it same? Yes, same. That peripheral or arterial resistance, ma'am. What does it mean? That vasoconstriction, decreases vasodilation.
Vaso means vessels. Vessels in the sense blood vessels. Blood vessels means, you understand, arteries and veins, capillaries, all the all the
Yes.
vessels that are carrying blood. So vasoconstriction means when the vessels are constricting, contract contraction of vessels.
Okay.
Okay, so when vessels will be contracting, the path for flowing blood will be narrower,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So when the vessels are contracting, so the path for blood is getting narrower. So when the path for blood is getting narrower, blood will exert more pressure, as the volume of blood is same. The amount of blood is same, but the path getting narrower. Means you imagine that there is a crowd in a market and you have only one gate and all of you have to go through that gate only. So if the gate is wider, then the pressure on that gate will be less, and if the gate is narrower, then the pressure will be more of public. The same thing. When the vessels are contracting, the blood flowing in a higher pressure, so BP rises. And vasodilation means when the vessels are relaxing, dilating, at that time BP is getting lower. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, another one. where is written topic control of blood pressure. After that, control of blood pressure. What is written TPR controlled by nervous and chemical means to effect
Well,
constriction and dilation.
here.
Ma'am, that after the two slides written TPR controlled by nervous and chemical means to effect constriction and dilation of the arterioles and venules. Are you got it? Yes, ma'am. This slide's last line.
Okay, control of blood pressure. Mean blood pressure is controlled by changing total peripheral resistance. So you need to understand about peripheral resistance for understanding this. So leave it. It's not much more important.
And another one, ma'am, that location of baroreceptor. Is it important for us to remember all things? What are the pictures are given below, ma'am? Below the slides.
Baroreceptors are not that significant for net exams. It is not in the syllabus also. It is a much deeper. You need to give more time if you understand, if you want to understand this. It is not that much important. You can leave.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. That's it, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, any more? You can ask anything at
No.
any time. Yes, I'm not
Okay, ma'am.
stopping you from asking questions. Just ask when I am continuing with that topic. Okay. So, any more question regarding any system? No problem. Okay, good. So, today we are going to start about sorry, lymphatic system, right? So earlier we have just completed cardiovascular system. So with parallel to cardiovascular system, lymphatic system goes on. So it is a bit different from cardiovascular system, not exactly same as in cardiovascular system. Blood vessels carry blood, but in lymphatic system, lymphatic vessels carry lymph. So what are lymph? All body tissues are bathed with tissue fluid. So what are these tissue fluid? They are consisting of diffusible constituent of blood and waste material of cells. Means all the tissues, all the cells, we have already discussed earlier about interstitial fluid, intercellular fluid, interstitial fluid. Means between each cell, each tissue, we can find some fluid. Even in between two cells, we can find some fluid. Those are known as intercellular fluid. And the fluid inside cell is intracellular fluid. Same thing, in between tissues, we can find interstitial fluid. Okay, so these fluids are consisting of some waste material of cell and diffusible constituent of blood. Means you can say that uh, blood constituents only, mainly plasma. Okay, so sorry. Cardiovascular and lymphatic system both are supplying fluid flow into the body but both are different type of fluid. Lymphatic system does not having closed circuit and central pump like heart. So as cardiovascular system having a closed circuit, means when heart is, there is a central pump, that is heart, and heart is pumping blood throughout the body, and the blood is reaching throughout the body through arteries, and it is coming back to heart through veins, right? So it is a closed circuit. It is the blood is emanating from heart and coming back to heart. So it is a closed circuit. But in case of lymphatic system, it is an open circuit. How it is open? The lymph is formed in the tissues and it is being collected by lymphatic vessels. No supply of lymph to all over the body is there, only collection. As in cardiovascular system, blood is getting supplied through arteries and it is being collected by veins. But in lymphatic system, only collection is there, no supply of lymph is there. Okay, and here you can see what lymphatic system consisting of. What are the things lymphatic system consisting of? So lymphatic system consists of lymph, lymph vessels, lymph node, lymph organs like spleen and thymus, and diffuse lymphoid tissue, that is tonsil. So these are the things lymphatic system is consisting of. Main thing is lymphatic fluid, then they flow through lymphatic vessels, and in between we can find lymph nodes and lymphatic organs like spleen and thymus, and diffuse lymphoid tissue like tonsil. And in this picture you can see how lymphatic system is present throughout the body. Lymphatic nodes are present, or lymphatic nodes are um, yes, they are present in some particular area, and they are collection of uh, means lymphatic nodes are crowded in some particular areas like neck, like armpits, like abdomen, and our this thighs area. Not thigh area, where the thigh and abdomen is getting joined at that portion. When the extremities are joining to the trunk, like armpit. And the same thing when the thigh is joining to the trunk. Okay, so this is the picture of lymphatic system. And in this picture you can see lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes in between, spleen, thymus, and tonsil. Okay, so what are the functions of lymph? Functions of lymph are they return tissue fluid to the bloodstream. Okay, so they are being collected and they return to bloodstream. It absorbs and transport fat and fat soluble vitamins from intestine. Okay, so lymph absorbs and transports fat and fat soluble vitamins from intestine. So in small intestine, when digestion is getting completed, all the nutrients are getting absorbed and assimilated from small intestine. Fat and fat soluble vitamins are getting absorbed by lymph. And one very important function of lymphatic system is to kill the microorganisms which are not beneficial for our body. So here lymphatic system is playing very important role in our immunity or defense mechanism. Okay, so lymphatic fluid consisting of white blood cells. Okay, lymphatic fluid consists of white blood cells which kill the microorganisms which are not good for our body. Okay, now here you can see how lymphatic system is going parallel to cardiovascular system. Okay, it is just parallel to cardiovascular system, but in one way only. You cannot see in another way where the body is supplied blood. No, it's not there. When body is collecting blood, at the same time, it is also collecting lymph. Okay, now here you can see lymphatic duct, lymphatic trunk, and lymphatic collecting vessels. Okay, now what is lymph? After blood travels through capillary beds and is moved to venous system, some of its fluid is left behind tissue called lymph. Okay, some of blood fluid left in the tissue fluid, that is lymph. So thus lymph is getting formed. Okay, so means when blood is reaching to each and every cell and it is coming back, when it is coming back, some of blood constituents left behind and those are forming lymph. Lymph is a clear colorless liquid. Okay, it is a colorless liquid with a composition similar to blood plasma. So lymph is very similar to blood plasma as it is a part of blood only. Right? So it is nothing but clear watery blood plasma leaked throughout the capillary walls to flow around cells. Okay, so what is lymph consisting of and how it is formed? It is part of blood only but not carrying red blood cells. Mainly it is a part of blood plasma. So watery blood plasma leaked out through the capillary walls to flow around the cells, and it contains oxygen, proteins, glucose, and white blood cells. So here are the constituents of lymphatic fluid. What are they containing? Oxygen, protein, glucose, and white blood cells. Okay. All the cells bathed in this fluid receive their nutrients and oxygen from it. Okay, so those cells are getting exposed to lymphatic fluid, getting their nutrients and oxygen from this fluid. Tubular vessels transport lymph back to blood, ultimately replacing the volume lost during the formation of interstitial fluid. Okay, so what is happening? The amount of plasma lost during the circulation of blood, that is forming lymph. So the volume was reduced for some extent. The blood volume was reduced for some extent as they are forming lymph. So when the lymph is ultimately returning to the blood circulatory system, at that time the volume is again getting back to blood. So completing the blood volume at that time. The lymph movement occurs despite low pressure due to peristalsis. Not only peristalsis, valves and compression during contraction of adjacent skeletal muscle, and atrial pulsation. So, in cardiovascular system, blood was moving as it was pumped by heart. There was continuous pumping of heart. Due to that pumping, or due to that force move, is the pump in lymph. So lymphatic fluids are moving. Lymphatic fluids to
Ma'am, your voice
the
is breaking.
voice is
Voice is breaking.
Yes, ma'am, still it is breaking.
okay. Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So where was we? Where were we? So yes, a lymphatic system. In lymphatic system, how lymphatic fluid is moving, as there is no pumping. In cardiovascular system, there was a pumping of heart, and that is why heart was continuously pumping and emanating some amount of blood. That is why the cardiovascular system was running, as there is a continuous pumping, and from that pumping force is getting generated and it is going on. But in case of lymphatic system, how lymphatic fluid will move? So in case of lymphatic system, due to some peristalsis, valves, and compression during contraction and adjacent skeletal muscle. So when we are contracting our skeletal muscles, as skeletal muscles are voluntary, so when we are contracting our muscles or relaxing our muscles at any portion of our body, and some body movements like peristalsis, valves, means there is no pumping system in lymphatic system, but other things of other body movements lead lymphatic movement. Okay. So yes. So, the origin of lymph. The cardiovascular system pumps blood through its system, but it cannot return all the fluid from body cells. So, the lymph system picks up 60% of fluid dropped off at the cellular level. So, the amount of fluid exerted by blood vessels to the fluid, to the tissues, mm, among those fluids, 60% of that fluid forms lymph. Means if blood plasma is coming out from blood vessels, that is about 100 ml. So among that 100 ml, 60 ml is producing lymph and coming back by lymphatic system. At this point, we are talking about interstitial fluid. The IF picks up plasma and becomes tissue fluid. I don't know what is this IF. Actually, the slides are not made by me. I have taken the slides from Slides Here app. Okay. So you can also find the slides. Otherwise, I will provide these slides to you as PDF. So at this point, we are talking about interstitial fluid, and the interstitial fluid picks up plasma and become tissue fluid. Okay. Now from this tissue fluid then picked up by lymph capillaries. So this is the process where how lymph is getting originated. So the cardiovascular system is pumping blood through its system, but it cannot return all the fluid from body cells. Means the blood plasma is coming to tissue and it is converting into tissue fluid. Now, this tissue fluid is picked up by lymphatic capillaries. So, among this tissue fluid, 60% of tissue fluid is picked up by lymphatic capillaries, and this tissue fluid in the lymphatic vessels is called lymph. Okay. Now, a pH of lymph is 7. So, 7.0. So, it is almost neutral, a bit alkaline. Now, function of lymph. Lymph act as middleman which transport oxygen, food materials and hormones to the body cells and brings carbon dioxide and other metabolic waste from body cells to blood and then finally pours the same into venous system. Means the lymphatic system is emerging from tissues and it is getting submerged into cardiovascular system, right? It is originating from tissues and it is getting submerged in cardiovascular system in venous return in the veins. Body cells are kept moist by lymph. It destroys invading microorganisms and foreign particles in lymph nodes. Okay. Now, lymph vessels return to the blood of any fluids that have escaped from the circulation. Okay. So, the fluid that has been escaped from the blood circulation, that is lymph, and when those circulations are getting collected by vessels, lymphatic vessels, that is lymph. So, lymphatic vessels are intimately connected with blood vessels so that they can perform this function. Now, distribution of lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels travel alongside blood vessels, means they go parallel to blood vessels. Okay, lymphatic vessels go parallel to blood vessels. With those blood vessels, lymphatic vessels also run. Lymphatic vessels are absent from bones, teeth, bone marrow, and central nervous system. So, where the lymphatic vessels are absent, they are absent in bones, teeth, bone marrow, and central nervous system. Okay, now here in this picture, you can see in detail about lymph nodes where they are mainly crowded. And here you can see how lymphatic system is parallel to cardiovascular system and it is a one-way system. It is a open circuit. You should understand and remember these things. And these are the pictures. Now, circulation of lymph. Lymphatic trunks from the union of collecting vessels. The 9 major trunks are draining lymph from region for which they are named are lumbar, jugular, subclavian, bronchomediastinal trunks, each of which occurs in pairs left and right side for each side of body and one single is interstitial trunk. Means in these areas you can see a crowd of lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are present in many numbers in such areas. What are those areas? Region, jugular region, subclavian region, bronchomediastinal trunk, and these things in these areas you can see in both left and right side. Okay, so but one single side is present in single intestinal in abdomen. There is it is present in a single crowd, that is intestinal trunk. So lymphatic ducts are largest lymphatic vessels. Right. So those two ducts drain lymph in vein in neck, right and left subclavian veins at the junctures with internal jugular veins. So valves in lymphatic ducts at their junctions with the veins prevent the entrance of blood into lymphatic vessels. Okay, so valves are present everywhere for that purpose only, that it prevents the backflow of fluid. Okay, so in lymphatic vessels also valves are present, as we have discussed that valves are present in where? Which vessels?
Veins.
Yes, veins. So, for preventing backflow of fluid, you can find valves in veins and the same thing in lymphatic vessels too. And two main ducts that drain lymph into vein, those are present in the neck, both left and right side of neck, that is subclavian veins at the junctures with internal jugular veins. Okay. Now about left and right thoracic duct, we will know about the left thoracic duct collect lymph from left side of body and regions of right side of body below the thorax. It ultimately drains lymph into the left subclavian vein. It begins at cisterna chili. Leave these terminologies, don't go such in such deep. Uh, Next is right thoracic duct. Collect lymph from upper right side of body, right arm and right regions of thorax, neck and head. A much smaller area than that serviced by thoracic duct. It ultimately drains lymph into right subclavian vein. So these two ducts, left and right thoracic ducts, are collecting lymph, and it is these two ducts are depositing the lymphatic fluid into venous return. Okay, now here in this picture you can see this subclavian trunk, which is joining the left and right subclavian trunk. Here it is, you can see. Okay, so lymphatic capillary to lymphatic vessels to lymphatic nodes and lymphatic vessels, lymphatic trunk, collecting duct, and subclavian vein. This is the journey of lymphatic fluid. So from interstitial fluid, it is coming to lymphatic capillary. Then from capillaries to larger vessels, and in between the pathway some lymphatic nodes are present, and lymphatic vessel is also there. From lymphatic vessel means after that lymph node vessel is continuing, right? Means lymphatic capillary is converting into larger lymphatic vessels, and in between those vessels in the midway lymphatic nodes are present. So vessel is continuing, and those vessels are converting into larger trunk, then from larger trunk to lymphatic ducts, and those lymphatic ducts are depositing lymphatic fluid to subclavian vein. Okay, now we will study about lymphatic nodes. They are widely distributed throughout the body along with lymphatic pathways. Lymph nodes are not present in central nervous system and they are composed of lymphoid tissue. Okay. Now, what are the structures of lymph nodes? They are look like so small bean shaped structure. Lymph nodes are small bean shaped structures, usually less than 2.5 cm, that is 1 inch in length. Okay, usually less than 2.5 cm or 1 inch in length. Three superficial regions are where lymph nodes tend to cluster, means they are crowded in three superficial regions. Those are inguinal nodes in groin, means where the thighs are getting connected to abdominal region, that is known as inguinal region, and at that portion inguinal nodes are present. Axillary nodes in armpit. So in armpit, there is a crowd of lymph nodes known as axillary nodes, and cervical nodes in neck. Okay, now here you can see the structure of lymph node. Lymphatic vessels are coming and they are merging into lymph node. Again, lymphatic vessels are going on. So here you can see a structure of lymph node. No, function of lymph nodes. What are the functions of lymph nodes? Filter the lymph before it return to the blood. So, lymph nodes are filtering the lymph, preventing foreign particles from entering the bloodstream. So, it is preventing foreign particles, means antigens. They also produce lymphocytes. If you remember, what are lymphocytes?
WBC.
Can you say suicide bags?
I'm not getting you. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I am saying about that suicidal bag. I think no. This is refers to lysosome is the suicidal bag.
Yes, that was lysosome. But I am asking about lymphocytes.
Lymphocyte and monocyte. Part 2 WBC.
So lymphocytes are type of WBC. There were 5 types of WBC, white blood cells. If you remember, what are those 5 types of white blood cells?
Neutrophils, basophils, and lymphocytes and monocytes, and another one not five are there. Means three are granular and two are agranular.
Yes. The one you missed is eosinophils.
Yes, Anushka, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So, lymphocytes are one type of white blood cells. So, these lymphocytes are produced by lymph nodes only. Okay. Now, here you can see lymph node get enlarged so many times. So, these are the symptoms of something going wrong inside body, and our immune system is trying to fight against that. That is the symptom. So now we will learn about tonsils. Okay, tonsils are cluster of lymphatic tissue just under the mucous membranes that line the nose, mouth, and pharynx, called tonsils. Okay, so where tonsils are present? Tonsils are present just under the mucous membrane of nose, mouth, and pharynx, and they are cluster of lymphatic tissue. There are three groups of tonsils present in our body. Those are pharyngeal tonsils, palatine tonsils, and lingual tonsils. Okay, here in this picture you can see tonsils. Now, the functions of tonsils. They provide protection against harmful substances and pathogens that may enter the body through the nose or mouth. Okay. So, what do tonsils do? Tonsils provide protection against harmful substances and pathogens that may enter the body through the nose and mouth. Now, blood supply by tonsillar branch of facial artery means blood was supplied by tonsillar branch of facial artery, and nerve supply to the tonsil is glossopharyngeal nerve. Now, can you remember this glossopharyngeal nerve? Which type of nerve is it? Cranial or spinal?
Cranial, ma'am.
It is cranial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, and this nerve is supplying the tonsils. Okay. This picture you can see the pharyngeal, palate, and palestine tonsil and lingual tonsil. Means three types of tonsils are shown in this picture. Where they are present, that is also shown: pharyngeal tonsil, palatine tonsil, and lingual tonsil. Okay, so this is the uh, end of lymphatic system. The in sorry.
Your voice is, ma'am, breaking.
Yes, any question?
Ma'am, ma'am, can you show that subclavian nodes? I think you told us. Where is it located?
Which one are you telling about?
Means subclavian. How that first is lymphatic capillaries, then blood lymph vessels, then lymph nodes, then after again vessel. At last, you mentioned na, that subclavian. I think where is it
Okay.
located?
Subclavian vein.
Yes, ma'am. That flow chart you shown to us, na. At
Huh?
last you mentioned that I could not get it. Can you explain and can you
Subclavian
show?
vein. You are asking about subclavian vein, right?
Yes, 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 ma'am.
Subclavian vein is located at subclavicle region. Where is our clavicle region?
Ma'am, abdomen and between the diaphragm.
Nose. Clavicle
Okay,
region.
ma'am.
Understand by the word. Take the word clavicle. Clavicle region. Where should it be?
Yes, ma'am. Means superior part of the sternum.
Yes, clavicle bones. Can you remember clavicle bones?
Yes, 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 ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
Where it is
Ma'am,
present?
means shoulder, we can say.
Yes, you can say around shoulder, but not exactly shoulder. See this picture. See this picture. Can you see this
Yes,
picture?
yes, ma'am. I am getting now.
So,
Means,
in the upper portion of lungs, you can see these two veins are there. Those are known as subclavian subclavian veins or subclavian veins.
ma'am, can you
And they,
point out by the
so here I can point out. I can, I think. Sorry. See this picture. These two veins are present. Can you see these two veins at the left and right?
Yes, 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 ma'am.
These two veins are known as left and right subclavian veins. They are present at subclavicle region. Clavicle region means where the clavicle bone is present. Clavicle bone, you can remember clavicle bone, that is beauty bone, which is more
Yes, ma'am.
prominent because so that is clavicle bone. So around that clavicle bone, the region around clavicle bone is known as subclavicle region. Okay. So,
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
so the heart, these lungs or apex of lung, you can say, is present at subclavicle region. Now, these veins are also present at subclavicle region, which is collecting lymph from lymphatic duct. Okay. In this picture, you can see only this subclavical vein only vein or only tube. I hope you are getting these subclavical veins and where they are present.
Yes, yes, ma'am. That point out also right subclavian vein and left subclavian vein.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am. Now.
Okay. Any more confusion?
No.
So, wind up the class. So, let's wind up with prayer. Upright your spine, sit comfortably, close your eyes, add up Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest. Inhale deep and long and start the prayer. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Rub your palms, put those palms in the facial muscles. Feel the warmth, feel the energy, and open your eyes with a smile on your face. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.